This is America in Space, a weekly news and information program on current events dealing with the space industry.
Welcome, and thanks for joining me today. I'm Dawn Meyer, Space Coast News Editor.
Space, the final frontier. To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Engage tractor beam.
For nearly 100 years, the tractor beam has been used as a plot device in science fiction books, movies, and television shows like Star Trek for trapping and holding things like runaway spaceships, grabbing asteroids, and even pushing objects away. Author E. Doc Smith is credited with coining the term tractor beam in 1931 in his novel Space Hounds of IPC. Devices like the tractor beam, transporter, and other things are termed applied phlebotinum, which means that they're a technology that works because the plot needs it to work. Now, we do actually have tractor beams. However, they're not quite up to levitating a spaceship or even a human being or, well, frankly, even a ping pong ball. The current tractor beam is acoustic. It uses 192 small loudspeakers to levitate objects. So far, the heaviest and largest object that's been done is a 16 millimeter wide styrofoam ball. These so-called sonic tractor beams use the loudspeakers to create a high-pressure shape out of sound. These are called acoustic holograms that can hold, rotate, and move objects in midair. Bruce Drinkwater, a veteran researcher at the University of Sussex in the United Kingdom, explains that the current real-world tractor beam technologies don't actually pull a remote object like a magnet might. Instead, they use various kinds of waveforms to create a movable field of force around the object trapping it. Then the field itself can be manipulated, moving the trapped object around, moving it forward, sideways, or back toward the emitting device. It can be thought of as an acoustic hologram, says Bruce Drinkwater, whose official title is actually Professor of Ultrasonics. It's a shape that exists in space, but is made of sound. Here's a more detailed explanation from Science Magazine.
Sonic tractor beams use loudspeakers to create high-pressure shapes out of sound. Acoustic holograms that can hold, rotate, and even move objects in mid-air. But for years, researchers have struggled to levitate objects larger than half the wavelength of the sound. Using a single acoustic vortex, researchers have only been able to levitate teeny tiny objects about 1.6 millimeters wide. Larger items spin uncontrollably and are ejected. Now a team of engineers has figured out how to levitate objects more than 10 times that size. Using 192 loudspeakers, they created two vortexes that pulse in alternating bursts of a few milliseconds each. This technique stops the objects spinning, which makes them more stable and allows the researchers to levitate objects larger than the wavelength of the sound. It may be a while before such beams can be put to practical use, but in the meantime, scientists say that with more powerful speakers, they might be able to hold and even control astronauts in zero gravity.
Drinkwater says that in the near future, the secret to practical application of tractor beam technology is to keep thinking small. So, while we might not be using tractor beams to yank around starships for a while, they can certainly be used to accomplish touchless manipulation of tiny objects in places where precision is at a premium. Acoustic tractor beams could be used to move tiny nanobots inside the body for targeted drug delivery when the particular medication needs to be delivered to a specific area of tissue. On the industrial front, sonic tractor beams could be used for very small-scale manufacturing. Rather than extremely tiny machines moving even tinier components, invisible acoustic holograms could be used to do the lifting. The hope is that eventually more powerful beams might be able to hold and control astronauts in zero gravity. Hey, so it looks like sci-fi, here we come. From the Florida Space Coast, this is Dawn Meyer for About Space Today. Engage tractor beam.
Join the About Space Today news team for a live broadcast of the Axiom 1 launch, the first all-private crew to visit the International Space Station. Axiom 1 will usher in a new era of accessibility, with a 4-person crew on an 8-day stay aboard the ISS. Join Space Coast News Editor Dawn Meyer and me, David Denault, for live coverage at 1 o'clock on Sunday, April the 3rd, on our YouTube channel for the launch of Axiom 1.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to share our program with your family and friends and follow us on Facebook. Join us each week for news and information on America in Space.